Hello, everyone. This is Alexis Cohen, and welcome to Artist Ascension, creative practices to accelerate healing, amplify your light, and activate transformation all over the world. And today I am so excited to introduce you to Anaiya Sophia. Anaiya Sophia is a mystic, storyteller, and author of revelatory wisdom. She uses her voice as medicine to heal and reveal the false codex that we have been living under. Known for showing us a trailblazing resource of unapologetic truth and transparent courage, her heart is both fierce and tender. She carries an oral message that stirs the remembrance of a continuous lineage with the feminine principle that throughout the centuries has preserved its spiritual dignity without the need for permission or recognition from any other source. Ooh, that's powerful. Hi, Anaiya.
Hello, my beautiful friend. It's beautiful to see you.
It's so wonderful to be here. Yeah, it's been a little while since we've had a conversation, so I'm so excited to dive in, hear what you're up to, and talk about this really powerful time in history and the role of the artist. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So just starting off, so in our community, we're talking a lot about ascension, and I would love to hear your definition, how you talk about the ascension process.
Well, I feel that we have moved through the kind of the light and subtle parts of the ascension process. The vision, the mystery, the gnosis. We've had our insights. We have glimpsed the light. What's happening for us over here in Europe, and I know it's the same for you guys in the US, is we are now in the body part of the journey, and by golly, it's rough. So for me, when you say ascension, the words that come up now are things like consistency, courage, commitment, the clean yes. When you say yes to somebody, to their face, and you carry on saying yes behind their back. So that kind of, we're really shaping our humanity to be really crystal clear, wonderful embodiments of men and women. So yeah, it's now an embodied practice. By God, it's hard.
Oh my goodness. And this is really why I wanted to start talking about ascension, because I was noticing that the conversation, it was almost like this spiritual bypassing, when this whole series is really about, okay, how do we go through this process through the body? So what you're talking about right now is just like really lighting me up. And I love how you're talking about, like, it's challenging. It can feel really challenging. Can you talk about that a little bit? What's so challenging about it?
Well, it feels as if every little secret place I could hide, every corner, every veil is now simply not available anymore. Everybody is really eager to give you feedback, which is wonderful, which is fabulous. But you're starting to see now just how often throughout the day you might trip a little bit. It's like, yeah, we're in the era of transparency. There's no hiding place. I'm reading Brené Brown's Dare to Lead book. And that's where I got that saying just a moment ago about the dirty yes. It's about noticing what you say to yourself after you've left the person or the project or the commitment you've just given. And that's the consistency. So what we show the world is exactly who we are on the inside. And as for gossip and all of that little stuff we used to do, it's got to go. That's got to go.
So interesting. So I have this group of friends. We're on a text feed, and we're always communicating with each other. And we were just talking about this, how we are committing to greater honesty with each other and holding this container exactly because of what you're talking about. We are birthing this next level, this new earth. And it's like having that really, really solid container and like being in complete alignment with truth is like the only way we're going to do this.
Yes, yes. And for me, my greatest alchemy at the moment is absolutely staying in alignment with my heart and my faith whilst reading Facebook, whilst scrolling on sacred media, oh, that's hilarious.
That's cool.
Social media, and seeing, seeing what's happening to the animals, seeing what's happening to the environment and the political situation and the wars that are beginning, and just noticing that knee-jerk reaction that wants to like jump in with hate, with judgment, with vengeance, and bringing myself back to the midline, not to bypass, to really notice those feelings and even turn to them with reverence and like, wow, thank you for the consciousness to even notice how much venom just came up when I saw that post. And to realize, this is what I'm telling myself, 80%, this is my little figure, 80% of what I'm seeing on social media is complete fake. It might even be 95%. And that is a program. That is, in the mystics, we would say that's an archon, or, Bernard would say hyperdimensional reality. That is an interference. Who and why is making so much fake news? If not to get emotional reaction from human beings.
What do you think is going on with that? So, as a shamanic practitioner, the transformation I've gone through the last couple of years, I work with very earth-based spirit guides. And over the last couple of years, I'm working with new guides, light beings, these multidimensional guides. And I'm seeing like it's like a bigger view of what is happening in reality. And so when you're talking about that, like I'm experiencing very, very light, like extreme lightness, and also like this extreme darkness, like seeing this polarity. So what, in your opinion, what is happening?
It could be that us folk, we're coming off the substances. We are, we're just stepping more and more into wakefulness. We're not super spending. We're not smoking and drinking alcohol and taking drugs. And, so we are freeing ourselves. We're disengaging from the matrix. But there is one place where we are still really, really in it. And that is social media.
Yeah.
So everything is being channeled into that program because there's no other way to get us. We're getting pretty damn free now, and we're very socially, economically, emotionally, spiritually aware, but there's just one base left. And so it's like all guns are blazing. That is where everything is coming in. And I kind of call it spiritual warfare. We have to be so vigilant to what we're reading, believing, getting involved with.
Yeah, it is like, what you're talking about, or like at the top of the interview of that, the commitment and the consistency. Like there's this, I'm almost hearing this like warrior spirit, right? Like it's like as we're bringing in the light, like it's just like all the stuff is coming up, and it's like we're anchoring it through our body, right? Yeah. So as we're anchoring this light in this way, what is the role of the divine feminine as we're bringing this through?
I feel the role of the divine feminine is to be the complete opposite to what we see on social media. So our job is to bring through the joy, the playfulness, the beauty, the grace, the kindness, the comfort, the blessings, all of that good, yummy, lovely intimacy, heart connection, this thing you're doing with your friends. it's to really take it all with a pinch of salt. And instead of fight it, whatever we do, we can't fight this thing. To fight it is to be it. Mm-hmm. So we got to come back in joy, mm-hmm. you know? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm a real animal activist. I love my little animal kingdom. And when, you know, you see those videos of what's going on. So what I do is I post a YouTube snippet of the most beautiful mantra I can find, a real heart-centered mantra. Because to say anything, you know, like those blah, blah, blah from that country, and, you know, so I deposit the most graceful mantra or prayer to what I'm seeing. So I'm coming back to this energy with love, with forgiveness, with joy and beauty. Mm-hmm. That is hard work. Because I want to go out with the guns. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's like a different muscle you're talking about, right? Like it's that muscle of the open, keeping the heart open, as opposed to that like defended.
Absolutely. Compassion, grounded compassion. So my human feelings, they're very much there. And I'm very grateful to feel the firepower come up. But, you know, 25 years ago, I did take a Bodhisattva vow. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's got to kick in at some point.
I took that one too.
Yeah, of course you did. So it's like, it's exercising that vow.
Can you please talk about that?
Oh gosh, I got that from Eli Jackson Bear, which is Gangaji's husband. He was talking about the Bodhisattva vow and how he made one. Yeah. And it was like I was in the audience, just like hanging on every word. And I was so moved that within days I'd done the same thing. Yeah. So the Bodhisattva vow is when you make this declaration with a Tibetan Lama to take the vow, which is at the end of every lifetime. You know, whatever you experience, they call it nirvana. Mm-hmm. We would say something like heaven. So just as you're about to go through the gates of heaven, you just turn around and come straight back to earth. And it's not so much until every single human is free. It's until everything is free. That goes for animals, that goes for nature, that goes for the elementals, that goes for everything. And even when I say that to you right now, I am still 101% yes behind that vow. Mm-hmm. Nothing can move me from that. That's just a big yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's like that, you know, that commitment of standing for that transformation, a transformed world.
Yeah. And you know, you come back to offer the hand, to offer the heart, not to like tell someone how not to be in suffering. No, it's not that. It's about being that grace, you know, that golden light, that warm hand. Here, take my hand. Let me walk with you a few steps of the way. It was like, now's the time for that vow to come alive. I love you.
I love you. I'd be crying in every interview. Oh, it's so beautiful. So, yeah. So as you're talking about the Bodhisattva vow and just this commitment and this like love warrior spirit, just want to just talk about, you know, the role of the creatives, the role of the artists at this time. What would you say to, you know, it's twofold. It's people who already identify as artists, and maybe if you're watching this and you don't identify as an artist, but you're really being drawn to create, this is for you. So, Anaiya, what would you say to people who are feeling called to create through art at this time?
I would say to those people, guys, gals, we got to be really brave and really courageous, and really come out of the box and really reach for next level, and to surround ourselves with next level people and simply just do it, birth it, bring it through, contribute to this hour. It's 2 minutes to midnight. We really don't know what's coming next. So we got to pull everything out of that little treasure trove and birth it, bring it. Even if it's messy, even if it's raw, it's never going to be perfect. Tune in. What is our greatest contribution? And then we got to follow it up with action.
That piece, the action piece. And so, like, what I admire about you, among so many things, but one like huge, like when I think of you, I think of your courage and what you are willing to say. And it's interesting, we were talking about social media, because I have seen such powerful posts that you have shared that it's my experience of it is like you bring in this, it's almost this like a lightning bolt of truth within that matrix that can hold so many distruths, really, if that's a word. But it's just like you keep bringing in these like really strong, powerful messages. And also, what I really admire is you're so vulnerable. You are willing to share your story in such a profound, vulnerable way in order to show the truth of the human experience. I'd love to, if you want to talk into that, to that courage, how you access it. And, for someone who's watching this is like, okay, yeah, I do want to create, but I don't know how to get out of my own way. But anything you want to say in that realm of courage?
Well, I think, to be honest, why I do what I do is because I don't actually answer to too many people. I don't have to save someone's reputation. I don't have children. I have an very outspoken partner as well. And mum and dad, well, they're used to me by now. So there's nothing to protect. There's nothing to protect. I don't think I'm afraid of people and their opinions and judgments anymore, because I've really been bitch slapped by many different people in community. And I always realize it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I've got enough experience under my belt now to realize at the end of the day, there's always healing. Even if someone's coming at you full blast, in a couple of months from now, we will be great friends and really understand each other. And I think that's because of the faith. I have a strong faith. So, I'll go to that front line, definitely, and raise the subject and take the aftermath, take the judgments and the projections. That's okay. How would I say it? Well, again, I'm reading this book, Brené Brown, Dare to Lead. And she's very much coming from a place of research that courage is something that can be learned and repeated. Back in the day, we would have said, oh, you either are or you're not. And she's saying, no. We can learn to be learn to be courageous. And that word vulnerability, that walks hand in hand with courage. So courage is not like, I'm big and strong. That's old paradigm. The courage in the new paradigm is the vulnerability piece, the humility piece, but there's also a very, very thin line that if someone does come at you, guns are blazing, you can take the information that's important. But then, make sure they don't step that line. You're not getting abused by this. You're not getting hurt by this. So you can receive your feedback, but also you have a good, strong boundary that you don't get traumatized or hurt or bullied by it. So again, great bit of alchemy for this era that we're in.
Wow. So if you were watching this, rewind that is like, you're really mapping out something so powerful at this time. And, you know, what I'm hearing underneath this too, is that there are really highly sensitive people that are being called forward to the front lines into leadership in this way. And, you know, such a massive gift of highly sensitive people is this vulnerability. And, you know, like order to cope, I would say that highly sensitive people, historically, it's like this protection, right? It's like the people pleasing, not wanting to be attacked. And, you know, what I'm hearing you say, you know, just in this whole interview so far, it's like we have to have the courage to show this gift of vulnerability. And you know what, people might throw daggers, and how can you keep moving forward in that truth no matter what?
I think the truth is, Alexis, is not my will. People will throw daggers. We will get the aftermath. We will get that boisterous feedback. And that is part of it. That's part of the alchemy. And you just go again. You just go again. But it's very wise to have support. You know, friends who will say, I'm sorry, but yeah, that was meant to come your way. I have noticed that in the last couple of months. And friends who say, hey, you know, I'll be with you when you're down on your knees, and I'll be with you to lift you back up again. Yeah.
You know, it's so beautiful doing these series, because it's like sitting here with you and really just, you know, in deep sisterhood and friendship. And, you know, everyone who's watching this, it's such a beautiful communal collective thing that we're all doing here together, the guests and everyone who's watching. So
I'm just noticing it's getting a little bit dark. Here we go. Hello.
Yay,
Light again.
There's your yay. Isn't that how it goes? Yeah. So, oh, this is so beautiful. So a big part of this project too is sharing creative practices to support you who's watching right now, who's feeling moved by this conversation. Yeah. And I would love to just hand it over to you, Anaiya. What would you like to share with us?
There is a practice coming from Kundalini yoga, which I'm part of detaching from the hive mind. So let's just imagine you've been with a group of people, you know, a think tank, a one mind situation, or, you know, worst case scenario, brainwashing, cult, powerful workforce. And you realize, you come away and you're like, oh gosh, I cannot find me in all of this. Well, this is a practice to pull our own mind out of that group dynamic and sort of find us again. So I'm going to sort of sit back a little bit.
Okay.
It's very simple. You do prayer pose and you put your thumbs on your third eye. And you start to rotate anti-clockwise. So if you were looking down on yourself, you'd be going back around the clock face, the opposite way. And you would do this long, deep breathing, eyes closed and looking at the third eye for 15 minutes. Now, this is like a little self-hypnosis, but I put another little piece in there. I see the rotational movement as a pulling. I'm pulling my sovereign essence out of this groupthink, and I'm coming home to me. And I've got no more voices, no more words. I've got nothing left in my head from that group process that I've been in. And it needs to be very feminine, very tender, very loving. You've got to tap into your feminine energy, whether you're male or female, and just beautifully bring yourself home. And because of the movement, it's so soothing. It just brings you into your heart. And I think sciences like this are essential. Again, you know, if you've been online and you've been reading one post after the other, and you've just got like, wow, This is another way of siphoning out that Wi-Fi and all the voices.
Mm.
You know, when we read something, there's a voice that goes with those words. We're listening to all of these voices. So yes,
yeah.
anti-clockwise,
Mm-hmm.
thumb on third eye, 15 minutes.
You know, even doing this for a few seconds, it feels like so like the spider, like the web, and like it's like weaving the thread back into the spool.
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that one this morning. That's why it's, on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, it's so wonderful. So Kundalini, is there anything you want to share with the audience about the power of Kundalini? I know you could probably talk a
Yeah, I'd
while.
like to just classify something about
Yeah.
Kundalini yoga, because people have this idea that Kundalini yoga is about raising the Kundalini to have a full Kundalini experience. That is not true. Kundalini yoga is the grounded art of preparing the body should the Kundalini rise. And the first things that get prepared is the glandular system and the nervous system. So those things become really solid, really consistent, and really grounded. And then grace alone will decide whether that Kundalini is going to move or not. So no one is chasing this big, epiphany of light. Not at all. And I love this practice. I've been doing it 22 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really want to, I'm very excited to dive into it, because it's just like, when there's something like in your field that it's like, it almost feels like everyone's saying Kundalini, Kundalini, Kundalini. That voice is like,
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So when you say Kundalini rising, what is that experience?
So Kundalini rising it's an awakening energy that flows up through the center of the spinal cord, penetrating each chakra along the way, so that we really are this fine, bright, white light of beingness. But when we first come to yoga or any kind of practice that works on the Kundalini, those chakras are going to be a little bit cluttered, partially open, partially closed. And so the practices clean the energetic psycho-spiritual centers so that the Kundalini can flow. Yeah.
That's so powerful. It's all of this is like weaving in terms of practices. So this is Kundalini is an amazing practice to support the embodying of this light, really anchoring the light.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there's one more thing I just want to share. And then before we seal up our work. So we're talking about the importance of the divine feminine, and, we're embodying and anchoring this energy through our body. Can you speak into, I work with a lot of women, and what I am seeing is that as we are embodying this light, it's really inciting a lot of traumas that have happened in the root area, the pelvic area, the power centers of women. So, can you speak into that? Because I'm, part of like, oh, it's so hard of bringing that in. That's where I'm noticing there's a lot of like stuck energy and those old traumas and fears that are arising for women.
Another thing that I work with is sacred body awakening, which is a hands-on, somatic, shamanic, primordial way of being with a woman. And we've been noticing that the trauma comes out with such grace and ease when we really connect with the land and realize that our body has come from the land. Like, for instance, I was born in Britain. My body, my flesh has come from the energy that makes up Britain. So for me to do this root sacral work, I have to remember that. I have to remember ancestors. I have to remember, smell and taste, the actual place I arrived in Britain. And that is one of the greatest revelations I've had with Sacred Body. This healing is coming from the natural world. I swear to you, I've had like years of experience now. It's coming from the natural world. I still can't quite put vocabulary to this. It's partially formed. It's a gift. When we remember the mountains, the rivers, the trees, the tree sap, the meadows and the elementals and the fairies and all the devas that hold this natural world in balance, when we turn to that and ask for healing, healing comes. And this is what I have been experiencing. That to do that root work, that sacral work, we have to become a medicine woman of the natural world. And that's a different face. We wear a different face. We are that cave woman. We're that tree woman. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, there's been one occasion where we've all been doing work with Sacred Body, and things like, you're going to laugh here, but this is what happened. Otters, hedgehogs, and squirrel energy all participated in the healing of C-sections and partial loss of womb. Now, if I was in a fantasy, I would have been fantasizing about unicorns or bear energy or wolf energy. Now, for a hedgehog to show up and an otter, surely that shows you, wow, she's not making this up. Because if I was making it up, I'd have gone for something impressive.
Yeah.
Beautiful little mammals turned up to be with this woman, and she felt it too. I mean, how much safer? What a safe energy, an otter, a hedgehog, a squirrel. This is what's doing the medicine, especially, in my arena at the moment. It's nothing impressive. Everything is simple. Everything is honest. And it's warm and it's comforting and it's homely. It's earnest. That's a good word. Wholesome.
So it's really interesting as you're talking about this, and it's, we've talked about this. I worked in birth for a long time, and the importance of a woman feeling safe, that safety and that support of the earth, so she can feel that support, so she can open to what's happening within her body. So this is just coming to me now because it's, I think this can be like a confusion or just something worth talking about. So that safety is required for a woman to heal and open in that way, that very feminine way. And we're also talking about, being this warrior where there isn't the like safety. There's a different kind of idea of what safety is, like when we're like moving in and when the daggers fly kind of thing. So how do we work with that, that idea of safety?
Well, I think that's sacred union in action. So, our masculine energy takes the daggers and our feminine energy opens to the unknown and trusts the unknown. And we have both at our disposal. With such ease and grace, we can shapeshift into the other. We are a unit of pure creation, part masculine, part feminine. So it's, yes, we're dancing, yes, we're tiptoeing and dancing through this tumultuous time. but it's high level alchemy. Yeah, we're exhausted. But by the time it's done, we will be complete.
Mm.
We will be this new hybrid that is neither male nor female, but abundantly both.
Mm-hmm. I'm feeling that. Yeah. And I'm like hearing that too, like that dance of that deep listening of when it's time to like really come in and do that deep healing. And like when it's like time to come out, like with that, like really focused way of being, and how, and just like that practice you shared with us, how that helps to listen to what is needed and what action is required at the time. Beautiful. And so I know that you have a free gift for our beautiful viewers. Would you like to share?
Yes, the free gift is a transmission called Fierce Feminine Rising, which is a vocal journey of putting you back in contact with that within you, and going through that chakra system and what that might feel like to have that energy flowing and your chakra system open to that and the kinds of behaviors we might be experiencing. So for instance, in the root, stand your ground; in the sacral, sovereign sexuality; in the solar plexus, boundaries and discernment. So it'll give you like an energetic, oh, this is what it feels like. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. That's so aligned with what we're talking about here. Even just we were talking like that fierce, we can be feminine and fierce. That's important, that combination.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And is there anything else that you would like to share with our viewers before we seal up our work here today?
No, I don't think so. I have well, yes, I do actually. I have a video series starting on the 11th of the 11th. And my first guest is Charles Eisenstein. We're going to be talking about ecocide. But it's not about facts and figures. We know the information. I'm going to try and bring something more out of Charles because I know that his lifestyle, his life essence and quality is incredibly graceful, loving, and joyful.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to bring to this series. I'm going to have 7 courageous conversations, from white privilege to the protesting in Hong Kong to AI and transhumanism. But instead of giving everyone the data, it's about having this conversation in a warm pool of love and faith. So it's something that's felt, not more data. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you. And I mean, what a beautiful example of really what we're talking about here, of just the courage to create these sacred bodies of work that are so needed at this time. And I just want to thank you for just the incredible work that you do and for showing up and your commitment and your love for the transformation and the healing on the planet.
Thank you, Alexis. Thank you for inviting me on again, and bless everything you do. Everything you do.
Thank you. And beautiful viewer, thank you so much for being here and for being a stand for love and transformation and creativity. And you've got this. Just keep going. You've got this. See you next time.